Hey guys, so not my normal setup at all, but I definitely wanted to take a look at this AP poll that just came out. So I'm JR here with the Big Ten Huddle presented and brought to you by FanDuel, and we've got to look at this. So I was gonna wait until the show tonight to look at this with Jeff, and we will, but we're gonna probably focus more on like the college football playoff and projecting what those rankings will look like, as you know, the AP poll can kind of give us some hints there a little bit, but there were just some things in these rankings that I had to point out because it's getting pretty ridiculous at this point. So Ohio State and Indiana stay at number one and number two. Ohio State did not receive a single fourth place vote this week. In the past, they'd received four third or and fourth place votes. This week, they did not receive a single fourth place vote, and the only third place votes they have are Pat Welter and Koki Riley. Pat Welter has Texas A&M at number one, so he's obviously stupid. He has no idea what he's talking about. At this point, I don't even care to call these AP voters stupid. Like at one point, I had sympathy and was like, oh, they're just doing their best and stuff. Like at some point, I shouldn't call them stupid. They are making stupid decisions, and to put Texas A&M at number one again, I mean, excuse me, to put them at number one again, time and time again. It's utterly ridiculous. Pat Welter is the only one that has them at number one because everybody sees how fraudulent this Texas A&M team is. Oregon, I'm convinced Oregon is a better team than Texas A&M, but because Texas A&M has played every single SEC team that has fired their coach, they just faced an SEC team that has fired their offensive coordinator, fired their offensive line coach. They beat Mississippi State, congratulations, and they beat Missouri, who was on their third string freshman QB, which I get it. Missouri's ranked now, which we'll get to that later on. That makes my head hurt more. But I'm not even planning anything for this one. This is literally just me seeing the AP poll coming here, reacting, and I'm just baffled by some of the stupidity. Texas A&M should not even be in the top five. It's pretty ridiculous at this point. I'm okay with Georgia in the top five because of what they did to Alabama, and I'm not. I'm not somebody that thinks Alabama is a world beater. Not to Alabama, did to Texas. I'm not somebody who thinks Texas is a world beater or anything like that. But I do think a Texas team with that much, with that talented of a defense and quite frankly, all the talent they have all over the place, but that proven of a defense and everything else, for them to go out there and basically spank them by four scores in that game. What was it, 35-10? I think it was, for them to go out there like that. I caught the very end of that game, and they just completely dominated them. I went back and watched some of it too. I'm not scared of Georgia. I think that Ohio State and Indiana would both take care of Georgia. I think Oregon would give Georgia a very good game, but overall, I think that this Texas A&M team top five is pretty ridiculous. The top five should be Ohio State, Indiana, and then some mix of Georgia, Texas Tech, and Oregon. I mean, honestly, if those were the top five, I wouldn't complain all that much. But of course, Ole Miss gets into the top five because you know what Ole Miss did this weekend? They were so impressive by coming back and barely beating Florida. Yes, I know they got a touchdown late in that game, and they ended up winning the game by 10 points. They barely beat Florida in that game. Florida is 3-7 now, and people want to talk about how Iowa is not an impressive win for Oregon. Oregon just fell last week in the AP poll because they beat Iowa. Apparently, they didn't beat Iowa good enough, but apparently, nearly losing to 3-7 Florida is more impressive because that jumps Ole Miss up there. I mean, you cannot make up this kind of SEC bias and stupidity. It is straight up stupid. I will say, because I do want to give credit where credit is due. I will say they did a good job by keeping Oklahoma behind Oregon. You had a tie with Oregon and Texas Tech at number 6. That's pretty interesting. You don't normally see you kind of see them sometimes down in like the 20s and sometimes in the late teens, but you don't see it in the top 10 all that often, just with the way voting works and stuff. So that's pretty interesting. I think they tied with just shy of 1,300 points together between the two of them. So I'll give credit there. I still feel like Alabama at number 10, like at some point you have to pay for your losses. Like I understand Alabama beat Georgia, they beat Missouri. Who's the other ranked team they beat? Like I understand they beat 4 ranked teams in a row. Sorry guys, I'm losing my voice a little bit. I understand they beat like 4 ranked teams in a row, but I mean, number one, they aren't all still ranked. LSU's not still ranked. And number two, we really believe Missouri is a for sure ranked team. Like that's really a team that we're going to give a whole lot of credit for beating. I don't personally see it. I think that Alabama is one of the most inconsistent teams in the country. I don't think Kalen DeBoer knows what he's doing coaching at Alabama. I don't think Kalen DeBoer is a bad coach. I just think he is not a fit at Alabama at all. And the type of players that he's bringing in are more them just, bringing players in and kind of living off the Saban days a little bit and some good NIL investing that they're doing. But overall, I'm not a true believer in Alabama right now or in the future. I mean, they're too inconsistent for me. So I guess they're fine at 10. I don't love it, but I do think the Georgia win carries weight. But it's almost like it's like completely knocked out by the Florida State loss, which I get was the first week of the season. But again, that needs to carry weight, losing to a team that's terrible. So glad to see Oklahoma behind Oregon, and glad to see that USC went above Texas. Now, Texas shouldn't even be in the top 20. Honestly, they should be ranked behind Tennessee. You look at Tennessee's losses, you look at Texas's losses, and Texas has worse losses than Tennessee. I don't think Texas has a better win. Not that I can recall. I should have looked this up. I would have been a much better host if I did that. But I don't think Texas has a better win. The only reason why Texas is ranked so high is because they were the preseason AP polls number one team in the nation. If they're still ranked above Tennessee, which you guys know me, I'm not in love with Tennessee, but I think as things begin to change more, I'm okay with Tennessee being in the top 25. I don't love it, but I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with Missouri being in the top 25. Literally, who have they beaten? I mean, literally. I'll pull it up for you. Yeah, so they have beaten Central Arkansas, Kansas, which they lived off a Kansas win for way too long. I never understood that. Louisiana, South Carolina, UMass. Then they lost to Alabama. Then they played their first road game of the season. They played 6 games and then faced their first road game of the season. You cannot make this up. They beat Auburn by 1 score. They lost to Vanderbilt by a score. That was also the game where the quarterback, Bo Prabula, got hurt. They blew out Mississippi State, which I guess, as long as you blow out Mississippi State, that's the most important thing. I can think of another 3-loss team that has blown out some opponents that are awful as well, but, we'll talk about them in a second. And then they have at Oklahoma and at Arkansas coming up. I mean, Missouri's not going to win at Oklahoma. At least I don't think so. Maybe SEC parity or whatever. But it's just kind of ridiculous that SEC that Missouri is even in there at this point. I don't agree with James Madison over North Texas. James Madison's played virtually nobody. Like they're literally Liberty. Liberty. Remember a few years ago when they played Oregon in the one bowl game and they just got completely thrashed and throttled. Yeah, that's what's going to happen to this James Madison team if they face anybody decent in a bowl game. Don't get me wrong, Bob Chesney, good coach, James Madison, good history, but this is a team that has faced a terrible schedule, has multiple 7-2, I believe, or 7-1. I believe they have 7 wins, but I looked at their schedule, and their schedule is just crap. I mean, it's crap for a Group of 5 team, which is really telling you something. And then Tulane in there is fine. Houston, whatever. I mean, they're kind of the same way. Again, with not really beating anybody, and they've been in way too many close games, in my opinion. To me, I have no idea how Navy is not in there over Houston. Navy just took down USF. I get it. Like Houston's in the Big 12, Navy's a G5 team, but still USF is a better win than some of the wins that Houston has so far this season. So actually, they might be better than all of Houston's wins. Let me look it up really fast. Houston has beat at USF, at Arizona State, Arizona, Oklahoma State, and all right, sorry about that. It's nap time in my house right now, and apparently my daughter heard me talking, so she came downstairs. So no, but what I was getting back to, like, yes, Houston has beaten at Arizona State, I guess, but they've also lost to West Virginia. So I mean, at this point, it's kind of filling the back end of this, and I get it. It's no all that great choices, but I still don't understand how Illinois is not ranked there at 7-3. It should tell you something that Iowa right now at 6-4 is getting votes. I know Pitt just got dismantled by Notre Dame, but I feel like they should be closer to it as well. And then honestly, too, like I get it, Washington, like they're 36. They're receiving votes. They got a few votes, I think one or two, to be number 23 in the nation. So they got two or one to be 23, one to be 24, and then three to be 25. So like if Alabama is not going to get hurt all that much for losing to Florida State, why are we hurting Washington all that much for losing to Wisconsin, right? Like I get it. Like my taste on Washington has soured a little bit ever since that Wisconsin loss, but they did just come back and absolutely throttle Purdue. If we've learned anything about this Washington team, it is that they are a completely different team at home than they are on the road. And I think there's a lot of SEC teams that are like that too, right? I mean, you go to the SEC standings out there and you'll see a number of SEC teams that can't win on the road, but they can win at home. Let me just go there really fast and we'll be able to see that. But I mean, SEC teams that are at the top right now, Ole Miss is 2-1 on the road. Texas is 2-3 on the road. Vanderbilt is 2-2 on the road. Missouri is 1-1 on the road. I mean, these are all teams that are ranked but can't win on the road. I mean, they obviously can, but they don't win consistently on the road. And Washington right now, what are they? They're on the road because they beat a couple teams. They are 2-2 on the road, and I get it. That one loss was to Wisconsin, so I'm not necessarily arguing that Washington should be ranked, but I don't think it should be like a foregone conclusion that Washington should not be ranked at all. Because are we really going to say what Houston has done? Like Houston losing to West Virginia, that like they haven't played anybody as good as what Washington has played. And I get like I was just kind of vouching for Navy a little bit because they beat South Florida, but same thing with them. And you know, it's just it's all a mess right now. So that's what we basically have come to with the AP Top 25. Curious to see what the college football playoff rankings look like. We will discuss it tonight with Jeff on the recap show and everything. So stay tuned and thanks for watching. Have a good one, everyone.